I set the folder down between us with no sound except the whisper of paper on wood. I need you to read page 7, I said. The section where my name appears as collateral. Linda's hand froze halfway to her wine glass. The kitchen light overhead buzzed, one of those low hums you never notice until everything else goes silent. My father shifted in his chair, the wood creaking under the weight of a man who suddenly wanted to be anywhere else. I don't know what you think you found, Linda began, her voice soft, concerned, the same tone she used when she told people she was worried about me. I'm not asking you to explain it yet, I said. I'm asking you to read it. Her eyes flicked to my father. Then back to me. Then to the folder, still closed, still waiting. That was the moment the room changed temperature. Because polite doesn't mean harmless. And silence, real silence, is always a decision. Let me take you back. My mother died when I was 19. Sudden. Surgical complication. The kind of loss that doesn't announce itself, it just detonates and leaves you sorting through the debris for years. My father didn't handle it well. None of us did. But he handled it quietly, which everyone mistook for strength. Linda showed up 2 years later. She worked in his office. Administrative. Organized. The kind of person who remembers birthdays and brings homemade cookies to meetings. Everyone liked her. My aunts liked her. Even I liked her at first, because she didn't try too hard. She didn't redecorate immediately. She didn't call herself my mother. She just existed carefully in the spaces my father needed filled. They were married within a year. I was finishing my degree. ROTC. Discipline was my language by then, early mornings, clean lines, mission focus. I didn't live at home anymore, but I visited. Holidays. Dinners. I watched her slowly repaint the living room. Watched her suggest new furniture. Watched my mother's garden get replaced with decorative stone. I said nothing, because grief is complicated, and I wanted my father to be happy, and Linda was polite. But polite doesn't mean harmless. The first shift happened at Thanksgiving, 3 years in. We were at the table, me, my father, Linda, my Aunt Grace, and Linda's sister Claire. Casual conversation. Someone asked about my plans after my service contract ended. I'm looking at graduate programs, I said. Possibly consulting work. I've got some options. That's wonderful, Linda said, smiling. And smart. Building security for the future. She glanced at my father. We've been talking about that too, making sure everyone's protected. Especially with everything you'll be earning. The way she said, everyone stuck. Protected how? I asked. Oh, you know. Estate planning. Beneficiaries. We're updating everything to make sure the family's covered if anything happens. My father nodded, chewing quietly. That makes sense, I said. For you too. Linda's smile didn't falter. Well, and for you, of course. We're all connected. That's what family means. Aunt Grace changed the subject. But I didn't forget the phrasing. Everything you'll be earning. Not you'll earn. You'll be earning. Future tense. Continuous. Like it was already part of a shared pool. The comments came in small, polite doses after that. At Christmas, you'll want to be careful with that signing bonus. Taxes can be brutal. Your father and I can help manage it if you'd like. At Easter, have you thought about setting up a trust? It's responsible. We can walk you through it. At a summer barbecue, it's amazing what you're building. It'll be such a relief for all of us when you're established. Each time, my father said nothing. Each time, I smiled and changed the subject. Because I didn't have proof yet. Just a feeling. And feelings aren't facts. But I started keeping records. I came home one weekend in late September to help my father with some yard work. The house felt different. My old desk was gone. The one from high school. The one my mother had refinished with me the summer before she died. We'd sanded it together on the back patio, her hands over mine, teaching me how to follow the grain. Where's my desk? I asked Linda. She looked up from her laptop, surprised. Oh, that old thing? We donated it. You weren't using it, and we needed the space for a filing cabinet. I thought you knew. I didn't. Well, it's gone now. She smiled apologetically. I'm sure we mentioned it. She hadn't. I checked the cabinet later. It was full of financial documents, tax files, investment portfolios, insurance policies, and a folder labeled estate draft. 2 weeks later, I came back to grab some winter clothes from the hall closet. The box of my mother's things, her journals, her watch, some photos, wasn't there. We reorganized, Linda said when I asked. Some things got moved to storage. I can look for it later. Later never came. Control doesn't always come from force. Sometimes it comes from small removals. From making someone a guest in a place that used to be theirs. From erasing the past one closet, one desk, one box at a time until you're standing in a house that doesn't remember you. I didn't argue. I just started documenting. In October, I got a call from my bank. We received an inquiry about adding an authorized user to your account, the representative said. We wanted to confirm it was you before proceeding. I didn't request that, I said. Pause. The request came from a Linda Calloway. She listed herself as your stepmother and said it was for estate planning purposes. I felt my pulse slow, the way it does before a mission brief. Calm. Clear. Deny the request, I said. And flag my account. No changes without in-person verification and ID. Understood. I called the credit bureaus that afternoon. Locked everything. Then I went home. The folder was still in the filing cabinet. I photographed every page. There were drafts, notes, printed emails. One was a loan application, pre-filled with my projected income, my education, my future clearance level. The cosigner line had my father's name. The collateral section had a handwritten note, discuss beneficiary clause, insure coverage. Another page was an insurance policy draft. I was listed as the insured. My father as the policyholder. Linda as the primary beneficiary. At the bottom of the folder was a printout of my service contract, salary, bonuses, timeline. Someone had highlighted the separation payout. 6 figures. In the margin, in Linda's handwriting, available Q2 next year. I didn't confront anyone that day. I made copies. Organized everything by date. Built a timeline. And I waited. Because records don't forget. I spent the next month putting the pieces in order. I contacted my chain of command's legal assistance office. They referred me to a civilian attorney who specialized in financial exploitation and family law. Her name was Ms. Halloran. She was 60, sharp-eyed, and completely unimpressed by my calm tone. Most people come in here crying or yelling, she said after I finished presenting my timeline. You're acting like you're briefing a commander. I was trained to stay objective, I said. Good. That'll help. She tapped the folder. This is textbook financial grooming. She's been positioning herself as a fiduciary authority figure, testing boundaries, normalizing access. The loan application is attempted fraud. The beneficiary angle is more complex, but it's coercive at minimum. What do I do? You already did half of it, locking your accounts, documenting everything. Now we formalize boundaries. I'll draft a cease and desist letter. You'll deliver it in a controlled setting with witnesses. If she escalates, we file for a restraining order and report the fraud attempt. What about my father? She leaned back. He's either complicit or willfully ignorant. Either way, he's enabling. You'll need to set boundaries with him too. I don't want to lose him. Then he'll need to choose you over avoiding conflict. She slid a business card across the table. That's not a legal issue. That's a personal one. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. I just started preparing. I opened a new bank account at a different institution. Transferred everything. I updated my will, my beneficiaries, my emergency contacts. Removed both of them. I scheduled a family dinner at my aunt's house for mid-November. Neutral ground. Witnesses. And I waited. The dinner was casual at first. Aunt Grace had made her usual roast. My father's brother Uncle Tom was there along with Linda's sister Claire. Small talk. Laughter. Everything normal. Linda sat across from me, smiling, refilling glasses, playing the gracious hostess even though it wasn't her house. Halfway through the meal, she turned to me. So, she said brightly. Your father and I were talking. With your contract ending soon, we thought it might be smart to consolidate some accounts, make things simpler for everyone. We could set up a family trust. It's really just about protecting what you've worked for. The table went quiet. I set down my fork, pulled a sealed envelope from my bag, placed it in front of her. I need you to open this, I said. Her smile faltered. What is it? Documentation. Of what? Your attempts to access my accounts. The loan application draft using my income as collateral. The insurance policy where I'm the insured and you're the beneficiary. The request to my bank for authorized user access. The emails to my father about my projected separation payout. I kept my voice level. Calm. It's all in there. Dates. Screenshots. Copies. Linda's face went pale. My father stared at his plate. I don't know what you think you found, Linda said slowly, but this is a misunderstanding. I was trying to help. Help doesn't require forgery, I said. Help doesn't involve contacting my bank without my knowledge. Help doesn't include calculating my future income on a loan I never agreed to. Aunt Grace was staring. Uncle Tom had stopped chewing. I think you're confused, Linda said, her voice shaking now. Your father and I were just planning ahead. Planning what? I asked. Planning to borrow against money I haven't earned yet? Planning to name yourself beneficiary of a policy I didn't authorize? Planning to rewrite my financial future without my consent? That's not. She looked at my father. Tell her. Tell her we were just trying to be responsible. My father finally looked up. His face was gray. I thought it was just paperwork. Estate planning. She said it was normal. It's not normal to use someone else's income as collateral, I said. It's fraud. The word landed like a stone in deep water. Silence. I've already locked my accounts, I continued. Changed my beneficiaries. Consulted an attorney. This envelope contains a cease and desist letter. You are not to contact my financial institutions, use my name or information in any application, or make any claims about my assets. If you do, I'll file a police report and pursue legal action. Linda's hands were shaking. You're being dramatic. This is family. Family doesn't require extraction, I said. And care doesn't come with terms and conditions. I stood. Looked at my father. If you want a relationship with me, it has to be separate from her. That's not negotiable. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Said nothing. I picked up my bag and walked out. 2 weeks later, I sat in Miss Halloran's office with my father. Linda wasn't there. She'd refused to come. My father looked older. Smaller. She says you're overreacting, he said quietly. That it was all just planning. Did you read the documents? I asked. He nodded. Did you authorize her to contact my bank? He hesitated. She said you'd asked her to help. I didn't. I know that now. Miss Halloran slid a one-page agreement across the table. This formalizes the boundaries. No financial contact. No use of your daughter's information. No claims on her income or assets. If your wife violates it, we escalate to legal action. My father stared at the paper for a long time. Then he signed it. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't respond. Because sorry doesn't undo complicity. And love doesn't erase enabling. A month later, I drove out to the cemetery where my mother was buried. It was early, just past dawn. The grass was wet. The air smelled like cold earth and pine. I stood at her headstone for a long time. I think you'd be proud, I said quietly. I didn't yell. I didn't break. I just held the line. The wind moved through the trees. I thought about Linda. About my father. About the desk and the boxes and the folder with my name on it. I thought about the fact that some people see care as currency. That some families operate like transactions. And I thought about the fact that I'd walked away. Not in anger. Not in grief. In clarity. I see my father sometimes now. Coffee. Lunch. Brief visits. Linda isn't part of those conversations. He doesn't bring her up. I don't ask. It's not repaired. It's not whole. But it's honest. And sometimes that's the best you can do. Because here's the truth they don't tell you. Boundaries aren't cruel. They're necessary. And walking away from people who see you as a resource isn't betrayal. It's survival. Some people will call you cold, ungrateful, difficult. Let them. You don't owe anyone access. Not to your money. Not to your future. Not to your peace. Family isn't defined by blood or obligation. It's defined by respect. And when that respect is gone, when someone's idea of care requires your compliance, your silence, your surrender, you're allowed to draw a line. Even if it's permanent. Even if it hurts. Even if they never understand why. I don't know what Linda's doing now. I don't check. I don't know if my father regrets his silence. I don't ask. What I know is this. I'm not a resource. I'm not a plan. I'm not collateral. I'm a person. And I'm finally free. If you've ever had to set a boundary with someone who claimed they were just trying to help, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. If this story felt familiar, you're not alone. Subscribe if you want more stories about clarity over chaos, boundaries over obligation, and the quiet strength it takes to protect yourself when the people who should protect you don't. Thanks for listening.